So thank you for assisting our presentation. So as you know, we are a member of the committee. We have been invited to evaluate 6 candidates to grant a scholarship. So as you can see, we have 4 men and 2 women in different specialty and domain. They are all interesting. Their PhD research, they are really interesting. So it's been difficult for us to choose which one classified first or second. So we've been also sent like a grade. As you can see, this traditional grade is like based on excellence university, aptitude à la recherche, research, je trouve pas traduction, mais, and the communication publication also. So based on this grade and after discussion as a team, we have been found out that this results. So Matilda is ranked first, after Solange, third Mia, fourth Louis Charles, fifth Charles, sixth Taylor. So after this evaluation, we've been wondering as a team, if this grade is just enough for each different person. Like you see here, like you can ask a fish to climb a tree. It's not the same. It's the nature that give her that didn't give her the privilege. Sorry, the privilege for the tools to climb a tree. So we can't evaluate different people with the same traditional grid. So we've been asked as a team, I have me to discuss this problematic.
Yeah, so the goal of our presentation and our work was to find a way to apply EDI in selecting the candidates and selecting the winner of the scholarship. So it was all about creating a grid about inclusive excellence. So now let's see a bit more about EDI.
So we wanted to consider EDI as a principle of evaluation, and the objective of having EDI is very important because we had to have this in our mind before doing anything else, and we should understand that it's essential in research to reach its full potential. So some of us only see the productivity of research, but in long run, it is important to know that EDI is gonna give us a better explanation of how a group can work and what potentials are hidden and can be seen after we use the EDI. So equity, we know that there are some systematic barriers. Each candidate have his own barriers that may or may not affect the performance of the candidate, and access to same opportunities for all the individuals is something that should be considered. And this code is like a good thing to just mention. It can be unfair to treat individuals as if they were equal in a context where certain groups of people have long been disadvantaged. So something we somehow mentioned about, especially women that were mistreated for a long time. And well, diversity is about, we all know that there are some unrepresented groups that we have to somehow promote them because when someone is, when you see someone is weak and compared to others, you have to somehow help the person to get stronger. So if you don't do that, the person will not gain to a point to achieve those potentials to somehow flourish. And well, inclusion is also about paying particular attention to underrepresented groups, which is like, we want everybody to be involved in the problems and we want everyone to feel involved. So some facts about EDI. Well, men are deciding for women in securing decision-making positions. These are based on the things we have in the web and the links we try to study. Well, and we know that statistically speaking, men are more than women involved in critical decision-making positions. We know that there are special obstacles and potential dangers for women which can affect seriously their career. Sexual violence, underage marriage, female genital mutilation, and like some facts like governments are more men, so we know that like they're gonna somehow be a little bit biased to men's favor, and other things that are that can all affect how one person can perform. So here is a good physical representation of how a person's journey in life can be different, but the outcome can be like not the thing that we expected. So you see, not always the shortest path is the fastest. So maybe someone has a lot of different ups and downs, but the overall thing is that that person is more potent to be in a position to be more valuable and more impactful.
Donc, pour la nouvelle sélection qu'on a fait faire avec les principes de TI, on est parti un peu de l'idée que, bah, comme disait Mohamed juste avant, le chemin le plus court, c'était pas forcément le plus efficace. Donc, on est parti de l'idée que, on va dire qu'on va une personne qui a tous les privilèges qu'on peut avoir dans la société, qui va avoir une ligne droite pour arriver jusqu'au succès. Et après, chaque personne a des parcours un peu atypiques qui fait qu'on a des détours. Et donc, l'idée, ça va être de identifier les différents points possibles qui peuvent impliquer ces détours-là, pour ensuite, un peu comme vous avez fait dans votre présentation à vous, identifier ce facteur et avoir un coefficient pour pouvoir rattraper ce décalage qui est dû à une divergence dans le chemin vers la réussite. Donc, on a identifié toute une liste de caractéristiques qui pouvaient jouer sur ça. Donc, on a toute une partie pour l'évaluation académique. On a pris en compte tout un tas de facteurs. Globalement, l'évaluation académique, ça correspond un peu à ce qui est déjà fait. On a rajouté une partie qualité personnelle ou comment dire, le fait de faire du volontariat, de l'assistanat dans la vie, etc. Et on a aussi pris en compte tout un tas de live contraintes dans le sens où les résultats qu'on va obtenir peuvent être impactés par tout un tas de facteurs qu'il faut qu'on arrive à corriger. Et on va utiliser ces caractéristiques-là pour obtenir un coefficient pour rattraper justement la notation initiale.
So based on the above criteria we come up with, we have our creative formula for determining the best performance and the candidates. Our formula is based on the equation of the R, which is the result, equals to the X, which is a life constraints ranging from 1 to 1.1 times the sum of the alpha Y and beta Z. And Y is the performance of academia ranging from 0 to 10. And Z is the miscellaneous from 0 to 10. And alpha and beta are correction factors. We use the 28T principles. So alpha here is around 80% and beta is 20% because we think the academic performance is more important. So based on this formula, we have all the results of each individual candidate.
So what you just explained was the step 1 of our review. Now we know that this step is already very biased, even if we add inclusion with the EDI. So the step 2 is another step that will permit to review in another way our candidates, which again we will try to mitigate the bias at the maximum. So now I will explain the steps. So the candidates, each one of the candidates will have to make a selection of 5 achievements which are they are most proud of. And then we will build a competition between the candidates. So each candidate will have 5 achievements, and they will have to review anonymously another candidate with his 5 achievements. They will review the candidates. They will create a text, and this text will be reviewed by the reviewers committee. The reviewers committee will decide which wins between the 2 candidates if they were humble, if they were honest, and if they used a good argumentation. This will allow to create a new ranking from the start, and then we see the difference between the ranking at step 1 and step 2. If at step 2, the difference, how much they change in the ranking will apply a positive factor. So with the steps, they are allowed to go in the ranking and have a better chance to explain themselves and maybe have the scholarship. I will do an example. So at step 1, the candidate A, B, C, D, they each get the ranking 1, 2, 3, 4. So the candidate A will fight against the candidate C. They will build like a text to and they will not know that it's candidate C, but it's anonymous. They will write a text that they will say, am I better or not than this candidate? And they will have a winner, and they will create a new ranking, and with the new ranking, a factor will be applied to their initial ranking, their initial grade, and they will be able to go up in the ranking and maybe get scholarship.
So where does the step 2 come from? So yesterday we did the activity of the random stimuli. So we used the generator that gave us 3 words. So it was butterfly, bridge, and queen. So with these words, we had like a brainstorm session of what does those words make us think of. So for queen, we thought about King of the Hill. So you know the game where you push your friend under the mountain. So this game was for the idea of the competition between candidates. Then we had a butterfly for the hardship from the caterpillar to the butterfly. And this represents the ponderation that we had, we gave a ponderation for the difficulties that people can have, and we applied to the grid that we had, just like Jenshu explained. And then we had bridge that for us represent an easier way to achievements than if you don't have, if you have to take a vote. So it was like a metaphor for difficulties that you can encounter.
Even after this, we may think there's some bias in evaluating candidates. So we also want the inclusive committee. The committee itself should be inclusive with the following factors as age, sex, ethnicity, scientific background, and immigration status to minimize bias. So a good example in the real world is it's like the judges, like like in the US there's like I don't know what to call it. It's like the judges from different backgrounds to decide whether a person is criminal or not. So from different points of views. So that's also what we want in our inclusive committee.
No, it's not.
And then to minimize the bias, we also want like an automatic system that detects a potential bias. For example, it takes out the applicant's portfolio and see their and see like how they are. For example, like in terms of proportions in sex, ethnicity, age, and so on. And if, for example, a group is
overrepresented. If we have all the males in the scholars, the system will automatically tells the reviewer that there may be a bias and maybe it should be reviewed further to minimize that bias.
Donc ça, c'est juste pour récapituler entre la première phase de classement où on a utilisé la grille de départ et la phase finale. Globalement, il n'y a pas de changement dans l'ordre à part Louis-Charles et Charles qui passent effectivement 4e, 5e au départ à 5e, 4e à la fin. Donc c'était pas tout à fait la même chose, mais c'était à peu près la même conclusion que vous. Et donc, encore une fois, c'est parce qu'on n'a pas un grand échantillon et puis que même en prenant en compte les principes de TI, c'est aussi logique. Enfin, là, on n'a pas un assez grand échantillon pour confirmer ça, mais c'est aussi d'une part logique que ça ne change pas totalement le classement, parce qu'il n'y a pas que ça à prendre en compte dans le dossier non plus. Donc, voilà.
Merci.